Jesus would slip out of the situation. It says Jesus slipped out and he hid himself. He said, peace out. You guys are aggressive, hostile, nasty, vicious dogs. I'm out. Later. Right? And then he would exercise no contact and he would stay away from them. Okay? A lot of people get this idea, well, Jesus hung out with the sinners. Narcissists use that too. Jesus hung out with people like me. No, he didn't. Jesus did not hang out with abusive, narcissistic people who are out to hurt others. Jesus hung out with the sinners. Yes, the ones who were hurting and broken, the prostitutes, the depressed, the lonely. These are who Jesus hung out with and broke bread with. Not the narcissistically abusive people, right? And no, hurt people don't hurt people, right? We need to stop looking at narcissistically abusive people as necessarily hurting. Maybe at one time they were hurting, but they shut that hurt out. They turned off the vulnerability and are now instead taking their revenge out against the world and against you. That no longer qualifies as hurting. They're no longer there. Jesus was not for that. Jesus was for the people who are hurting, trying to figure out how to get along, how to heal, how to move on, and how to be healthy. Okay? And hurt people don't go out and hurt people. Hurt people want teaching and guidance. This is who Jesus was hanging out with. Jesus slipped away and hid from the aggressive, hostile people. No contact. So it's important for you to understand. So there's two things right away that we can see clearly. What would Jesus do with narcissists? One, confront them and say, stay away from my purpose. Stop trying to disrupt my path in life. Confront them. Number two, when they'd go into narcissistic rage, he would slip out and go no contact, and he'd hide from them, and he would have nothing to do with them. Number three, Jesus would ignore their demands and their commands to take part in what it was they were trying to do. Now, I've talked about this in another video, but there's a story of the Canaanite woman who was following Jesus and the disciples around, saying, please help. And she was basically coming across as commanding and demanding Jesus to help. Help me, I need your help. Jesus' response was to ignore her right away. Jesus showed that you don't just give in to people because they're demanding it of you. It's okay to ignore them when people want you for something. How many of you, when narcissistic family members or people are demanding you to be somewhere or do something their way, and how many of you have given in the past? Okay, I will. Again, that's not something that Jesus would do. Jesus plainly showed us that it's okay to ignore people when they're being demanding and commanding of your time and of your energy and of your effort. It wasn't until Jesus had a conversation with this Canaanite woman where she humbled herself and said, please, please. Then Jesus was moved, right, in the story, to help her out. Okay? So what do we get from this video as far as what would Jesus do? Hopefully this is affirming for you that your response to narcissistic abuse is more than appropriate. You can confront narcissists by setting boundaries against their name calling, against their abusive language, against them trying to demean you, devalue you, publicly trying to derail you from your purpose in life. It's okay to confront them on that and say, stop. You're being wicked. You're being evil. It's okay to do that. Number two, that it's okay to go no contact. Slip away from the relationship. Hide from the relationship. Move away. Move out of the city, out of the state. Move away. Slip away from them. That's okay, because you don't need to be in their presence and make it a habit to try and hang out with abusive people. Jesus wasn't about that. Then number three, it's okay to ignore the demands and the commands of narcissistically abusive people who do not show you respect or courtesy or any love in return. You don't have to give in to them. So when people ask, what would Jesus do? There you have it. What Jesus would do. The model that was set before us. Obviously, like I said, we set aside the event that Jesus willfully went through, which was the beating and the crucifixion, and we just focus on his ministry and what that looked like. That's what Jesus would do. Jesus did deal with narcissistically abusive people, just like you and I do.